my Jeep drawings so far. I drew this off screen in my spare time, just as a little fun hobby on the side. You know, I can bring the sketchbook with me and draw inside the house and just draw whenever. So this bit I don't really record, but now I'm just going to paint this all in watercolour paints. And I've been looking at trying to decide what's the best palette. The Jeep itself is going to be green, so I'm thinking maybe some warm tones in the background. So I'll probably apply these ones. I can't remember the names, I'll put them on the paper as I go along. I'll probably do a base yellow of yellow first for the Jeep because it's going to be green, and then maybe some browns and reds in the background. So we'll see how it goes. So this is quite a stubby brush, not the best ones, but just one I've found randomly, so I think this would be good just for scrubbing on a base layer of yellow. I'm not going too heavy with this. It's like a light wash. I might do, there's this cool well, I don't know what you call it, sort of like impact circle, would I say, from around the wheel. So I might do that, a little bit of yellow tones. Maybe keep it quite light. And as well as the Jeep I did, I thought it'd be kind of cool to do a cool Hellcat tank in the background. I think it's a Hellcat with the American flag swirling around in this kind of like cloudy kind of effect. And this is all just done with a brush pen here. And like I said, it was just a fun little sketch that I was doing. Yeah, it's quite a nice saturated yellow. I could just go straight to green, but I don't think the saturation will be very good. I don't think it'll pop as much. So I think a nice base of yellow will help it pop out more. What's good about the Unipin pens that I've used to create this sketch, it's also waterproof, so the pens won't bleed through, which is very important. If you use like cheap pens that aren't waterproof, it'll create a kind of muddy tone. Okay, so that's kind of good for the base, I think, of the Jeep. So let's work into some warmer tones. Let's work with this kind of darker yellow kind of effect, I think. Light brown, dark, very dark yellow. And I'm just creating like kind of a wash effect. I'm not going too precise with it at the moment. So I'll speed this little process just in time lapse and I'll get the whole thing washed in this light yellow. And we'll see where we can go from there. So I do apologise there, I lost a bit of footage, crop file or something. Anywho, I did add a little bit of a light tone just around the outside and kind of smoothed it out with the tissue paper and kind of create like a nice like grungy kind of effect in the background. Then built up a few tones of burnt umber and then red for the tank as well here. I'm not too sure what else I'm going to do in here, and this is still damp, so I'm just going to leave this for now to fester, and then I'm just going to focus on the green for this Jeep. And we're going to just see how well that actually pops out and then maybe make some adjustments there. So I'm just going to make sure my brush is nice and clean for this one, because I don't want any of the, I've been using a lot of reds and stuff, and I don't want that to affect the green. So I don't know which kind of green to go for. I need like a really light one. There is these tones here, but the metallic and stuff, maybe this one here. Should we go with this one? So I'm just going to twirl the brush there, make sure it's got plenty on there, and let's just go for it. Yeah, okay, I think that could work. I think that yellow helped as an undercoat to really help pop it out. Maybe a touch of this one, mix it with this. Yeah, that looks good. So I'm just gradually building up these green tones here on the Jeep, just to make it a lot more saturated than what it is. Like so. This creates a nice contrast to like the red and the warm tones in the background. I've taken a bit of time off just due to work, so I've come back and it's fully dried now. It has kind of dulled down the black lines and stuff on here, but I think that looks okay so far. The rest of this, the mud guards and stuff like that, that'll be the majority of all that's going to be grey. So once I get this green down, so I don't want that green to muddy up the grey, so we'll get the green down first. I'm not being too careful. I'm not being too accurate with the details just yet. It's a little early for that. I'm going to just try and get the colours down right now. Then once I've finished, I can then work in the details. Okay. I'm going to go with my watercolour palette. And let's get some greys in here. Start off with like a dark grey, because I can always lighten it up. Might make this kind of like fire kind of around the wheel, but maybe more yellow. We'll see what happens. Cool. And I was also just having a think about what else I could do to the painting, and I might add a white gel pen circle just around here, and then put Jeep in the top of it. I think that'd be kind of cool, because this is kind of dulled down, so the black tones have really like dulled, so there's not much contrast in the background, but adding a white on top of that I think will really help make the Jeep pop out and stuff. So I'm showing the grey tones here for the wheels. Okay, so I'll move into time lapse and I'll do all those things, and then I'll come back and see what else I need to work on. Okay, so I think it's kind of cool for an update right now. So as you can see what I've been working on, I've been just trying different things within it. Like I said, these aren't really planned, so I thought it'd be fun to I want to try and build up that kind of rough painty kind of look. So I did some posca markers. They were a bit too thick, the posca markers, so I did blend it with a brush. For my shadows, for example, instead of just having like dark black shadows, I also wanted a bit more colour in there, so I added a bit of contrast and purple here, just on these lower sections. I went with the yellow as well, which kind of just smudged it around there. And I wanted to try and bring this more forward by pushing the background further. So I added a bit of yellows and purples just on top of the car here, which sits upon this ring, the white gel pen ring at the back. So this helps just really make this stand out completely. And because of all this process, it's gone a really quite grungy kind of look, and that's really really decontrast the whole thing. So now I'm going to bring the contrast back up by a thick chunky marker here, just to get some of those key lines in. and that'll really help pull this car back. Like for example, this grille here, it's now very toned green. There's not much contrast, but if I apply the marker here, just like so, and that helps pull the contrast out just on the darker edges. These light areas here, I kind of want to leave them as they are, so this would be more the much more darker areas around here, if that makes sense. I apologise for my lack of terminology when it comes to art. I'm self-taught, so I don't really know much of the way, like what's the correct grammar for techniques and stuff. Here you go. So let's bring this yellow out a bit by making some black contrast here. I want to try and keep this fast paced, looking like it's a lot of energy, so a lot of everything's kind of smudged in this general direction. So the blacks are going this way, I've smudged the purples and the yellows in the background that way. So these these wiper blades, for example, they've now completely disappeared. So let's bring that back. There's a little light there. I'm not too worried about making mistakes. I just fix anything that I don't like. Working with thousands of customers over the years, some customers do have little tweaks that they want to change, and you get kind of accustomed to just tweaking the paintings all the time to suit the customer's needs, but that also gives you experience to just tweak it however you want it. Maybe let's add a bit of black here, just to help contrast that white. Still quite wet, the paint, so I haven't got much time to dry it, so I'm just being careful where I put things. Now that I've added the contrast there, let's amp up to contrast that black with a bit of paint. I'm using exactly the same broken brush as I used to fill everything in. I don't know why, but I don't know, I like this brush. It's very rough bristles, if you can see there. There you go. Now let's add a bit of this white. This can be quite opaque, which is what I want. So let's just bring those headlights out. I'm just going to flick in this direction. That's a bit too much there. Maybe touch here. Okay, that looks cool. Maybe a touch on here. And then after I've done these white highlights, I might go back again in the black, a bit more detail. And then I might go back into the white, I don't know, but it's kind of just a fiddly kind of process. And if I overlap it a little bit there, it helps bring the vehicle forward more. Okay, it's looking cool. I'm not quite liking this area here, so I might try and fix that as well with something. I'm not quite sure yet. I'll just leave that in my mind and I'm sure it'll come up with an answer. Just doesn't quite seem right. And because there's lights coming from this direction, I'm just going to a little highlight on the bumper and on the grille there. Maybe a little bit on the ground. There is another wheel here, so maybe I should pull that out more, a bit more white. Okay, so I'll go into time lapse where I'll just do some final details. So I think that'll do it for my Jeep painting. There's something not quite right and I can't quite figure it out, but it still looks really awesome the way it is right now. I went along with the white highlights, went a bit crazy and added these like cool like speed lines. Indicate the headlight beam coming across. I love how this front wheel looks like it's spinning down, so it looks like a nice action scene. And the tank in the background, the Hellcat, that's nice and subtle, especially with the Jeep kind of pulling it forward. So you've got nice layers, building up all these different layers on top of it. So I think you've got the background, you've got the smoke behind the tank, then you've got the tank, then you've got the purple, then on top of the purple you've got this, well, in between the purple and the white, you've got this white circle. Then you've got the vehicle on top, and you've got this wheel. So yeah, it's a nice gradual layer. Yeah, looks really cool. Nice little Jeep painting. So thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you later.